So today is a very exciting opportunity. We're going to talk to Keith a little bit about costuming, props, all kinds of stuff he's working on. So it's going to be like a quick round of questions. Here we go. Keith, what I'm curious about most of all for starters is what actually got you started in the whole costuming prop thing?
Well, the costuming prop thing kind of goes back mostly to Indiana Jones, but before that I always had a fascination with special effects in horror movies and stuff like that. So that's kind of what got me interested in the whole idea of costuming for Halloween.
Yeah.
And gore and bloody cuts and things like that. I thought all that stuff was really awesome. But the actual costuming started with Indiana Jones.
How old were you when you first tried that?
I'm gonna go with maybe, I don't know, 16 or 17.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was just fatigues and combat boots and a World War II holster and all the things I thought it would be, leathered bomber jacket and a fedora, which of course actually said Raiders on it. So,
okay.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Okay.
That was my first probably real prop thing. Was,
okay.
The Stetson Raiders hat. So, but that's where it started. But the real act of it started years ago at the, what was it? The Exotic Erotic Ball of all things.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And not exotic or erotic, really. It was Indiana Jones.
It's more of a costume ball.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
It's hot in here. Anyway. So I went up to one of the very prominent indie sites, indiegear.com, and
now is that a discussion forum or is it more of an information repository site?
Indie Gear is two sections. It's a full-blown repository site with historical information on all the movies, all the costume pieces, where you can find them, this kind of thing. And then they also have a message board called Club Obi-Wan,
right?
Which is from I think Temple of Doom,
right?
And that's basically a lot of discussion about gear and and where you can go take pictures and different stuff like that. So
now, but I assume that site focuses on Indiana Jones. Like you wouldn't find Star Wars stuff, Ghostbuster stuff, just indie all
indie,
the time.
All indie all the time.
Cool.
So, but that was the very first costume, first significant investment in any costume of any sort. Ordered things from England and that kind of thing. So, and that's where I got my first taste.
Now let me ask you, speaking of the topic of Indiana Jones costume, when you first were trying to put together like a legit indie costume, I found that there's different tiers of perfection you can go for.
Right.
Like you can try to buy the original things that were used in the movie. Like we talked about that shoemaker today who made the shoes that were used in the movie. You can still buy them today. They're like $1,500.
No, only $450.
Oh, only $450. My bad. Now, when you started this costume, were you just going for looks close enough, or were you like, I want to be the best it can possibly be?
When I first did the costume for Exotic Erotic Ball, I knew kind of what I wanted, so I went out and got the right bag and a good holster and a gun belt, and I had the hat that I still had from all those years ago, and I thought that was fine, and I got a couple of close things. So I was new to it, so I didn't want to spend a lot of money.
Okay.
Didn't have a lot of money to spend, I don't think. And of course, going to that event, you're at an event where there's people who are scantily clad. And when Indiana Jones costume gets more attention than the topless girl, you get a taste for it going, wow, this could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So the next thing on the list was San Diego Comic-Con. I had heard everything about it from friends who had gone before, and it seemed like that was the place to go if you really wanted to do something fun like that.
Definitely, yeah.
And so when I decided to do that, that's when I decided to step up the costume, because I knew that at San Diego Comic-Con you have, basically it's a mecca for people that are into every genre that there is, and of course they're very nitpicky as well.
Definitely.
And so I knew that if one thing was out of order, I'd be called out on it. I'm not. My dad always used to say anything worth doing is worth doing right, and or worth doing well, and so that was basically it. I then went out and I made an investment in Better Whip and the Alden shoes and everything that I could to make it as accurate as possible.
Yeah. And
the other thing I learned that same time was one of the critiques I got from a couple friends was, oh, the indie costume's nice, but you look too new.
Oh, like it wasn't weathered enough, distressed enough. Okay.
And I never really realized the art of distressing until at that point in time. I realized, oh, okay. In order to take it to the next step.
Yeah.
Any costume, especially if it's one that's been weathered or distressed, and that's the look, that you got to go the extra mile, even if it means dirtying up something grand.
No, well, that's what always gets me. Like, you work so hard to make something perfect and awesome, then you have to go roll around the backyard for a few hours.
Right.
Now, for something like the indie costume, was that in weathering it, was that your first taste of getting your hands dirty with the costume? Like, making it sounds like a lot of your process was acquiring the parts, finding the gas mask bag, finding the whip. When it came to actual weathering, did you do it yourself? Like, did you bust out the sandpaper? Tell me about that.
Part of my background with the special effects stuff was using mediums like gel effects and stipple brushes and things like that. So I had an understanding of how to, make the bruises or this, that, and whatever. So that same type of, I don't know if you want to call it training, but experience with that and the techniques that are involved can be applied in distressing.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
So I started utilizing things like Fuller's Earth, which is a theatrical sanitized dirt. And, and you start pulling out the acrylic paints and whatever you need to do to weather it to give it the look that you want. So I guess you could say that was my first step in taking something that was essentially a prop or a replica costume item and making it more screen accurate.
Okay.